One of the things I didn't ask you guys is like, how long you been doing it, Jay, and how did you get into the whole real estate thing? I'm just not necessarily that we need it for, but background.
Yeah. My wife and I worked together, lived in Alaska for 7 years. We worked together up there and moved to the Denver area. We liked working together and thought, what can we do that where we can make a living and still work together? So we both got licensed.
What were you doing in Alaska together?
Owned a business, and I traveled all the interior of that state. Went to places most people only read about. And it was a fabulous 7 years. Never would have moved, but we were a distributorship for a large oil company, and they sold that whole division. So we ended up, I'd been to Denver on business before and liked the Denver area, so we moved here.
And you just chose real estate because you wanted to work together? I mean, there's other businesses to work that you can do together, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how did that happen?
I don't know if you ever heard of the book, What Color's Your Parachute?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the culprit.
Really?
That put us in the real estate business. Yeah.
And both of you guys have similar personalities that it made sense for both of you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is she a realtor now?
She's not now. We deactivated her license about 5 years ago,
Okay.
but she does my marketing and a lot of the administration
so she's
stuff.
still part of the team.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Landon, just kind of curious, when and how did you jump into it?
Yeah, my wife wants nothing to do with real estate. So I think that's really cool. You guys were able to work together and stuff. I started in 2007, so 17 years ago.
Wow.
And I did a couple summers in between school. I knew I wanted to go into real estate like right away. And
Why did you want to go into real estate? People, money, lifestyle,
yeah,
a little bit more.
I think it's interesting because at the beginning, growing up, I never wanted to because I saw my dad, as our broker at the company, and I saw how much he was on the phone all the time and taking me to practices and constantly talking to people, and it seemed stressful. And I was just like, this doesn't seem fun. I'm going to the NBA. I'm going to play basketball for a living.
Yeah.
And when that didn't work out, I lived in Spain for a couple of years as a missionary and came back. And after I did that, it was like I was exposed to how it works, like working with people, and how that whole process goes. And I really enjoyed it. And I love working with people and helping them through that big time in their life is great. And problem solving, objection handling, all that stuff, I got pretty good at out there. And that gave me confidence to be able to go into an industry like that here. And so it was very similar actually to what I was doing out there. So.
Very cool. Hey, one of the things that, because I do these monthly market updates with 35 of you guys, and one of the questions I always ask, and it seems to be really pertinent right now, is how do you deal with the seller wanting a certain price and really what the actual selling price of the home is? It seems like it's one of the biggest things for you guys. The seller price, what he wants to sell it for, and really what the current market is. How do you both deal with that?
We never have to deal with that, do we?
I mean, is that one of the biggest things you do? Is how do you pick that price?
Absolutely.
You go first because you're.
Yeah. So how do you do that?
Sellers generally, I always ask sellers when I'm meeting with them. I said, you know what's going on in the neighborhood. You probably have an idea what your house is worth. What do you think? And I need to know that information because when I go back to the office after I tour their home and I go back to the office and I dig into the computer and I find out what it's really worth, I need to know whether I'm going to be the hero or I'm going to be the goat when I go back, when I give them a dose of reality. And I'm sure you probably agree with that as well, right?
Yeah. Good to know that perspective. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, do you wind up letting them ultimately come up with the selling price of the house and deal with a price reduction later on? Because it seems like right now, lots of price reductions. Mm-hmm. You agree?
Yeah. It's
and so that's a hassle for you. That's a hassle for the seller. I mean, it's hard on the buyers looking at they're dropping the price. They're dropping the price. You're dropping the price. How do you overcome that stuff?
Yeah, great question. So I think I really tried to become an expert of certain the condition and how the condition relates to pricing and how every project you do in a home can be calculated to price. Mm-hmm. And so I've tried to study the National Association of Builders statistics and other, forums online that I found as far as you put this much into your house here and it's going to give you this much, and really coach them through that and give them an as is price, but also give them like, okay, if we just do like the minimum, this is what we can get to.
Yeah.
If we do all this, this is what we can get to.
Yeah.
And I think it just seems more calculated to people when it's like that. And so they are more apt to trust my recommendation, rather than just say, oh, I thought it was worth this, because I feel like it is.
I know.
Sort of
It's so we're
coming into the market. And so we really emphasize we got to be putting our best foot forward the day we hit the market. It's critically important. And part of that also is that we're priced right. Because if we're not, they're going to go by us.
You miss the boat.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So that was a little thread I just want to pull at it. So I've never heard that before. So the idea that there's the people who are in the market, have been for a period of time, that are newly in the market.
Just coming on the market.
Where's the gap? Like, as in, how long has someone been in the market before they've been in the market so long that they're no longer considered in the market? Or does it drop off very fast? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, between that 2-week mark and the 2-month mark or the 6-month mark, do you segment that? Or is it not even worth it?
Interesting question. The timing of it right now is just because I would say in a normal market, if you're searching actively for 3 or 4 weeks and you haven't found a home, then sometimes that's all people will try, but usually in a normal market, there's enough homes out there. There's inventory that there is a home for them. Right now in our market, we have a lot of people who are, I would say, passively looking because they don't love the payments right now, as far as what they're being offered by their lender. And so they are looking for that like needle in a haystack type buy, and so they're waiting and we're still in a low inventory market. And so there's less people that are like giving up quickly, but they're not aggressively looking until the right home comes up that emotionally draws them so much that they're like, oh, that would be worth leaving my 3.25% interest rate and going after a rate in the 6s because this brings me that much more in my lifestyle.
This sounds kind of new for your business. This passive buying and passive selling thing. This is kind of new, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Explain how that feels as a realtor that you guys have been in the business for a while.
It feels pretty crappy, Rich.
Yeah.
It really does.
Passive.
Yeah. And that's the only reason why it feels kind of rough is because our volume of transactions has gone down 20% this past year, 22% the year before that. So it's a lot less going on, sales wise for us, to be a part of. And so it's definitely, changed the way that we do things. And like the thing I keep telling my team over and over again and telling myself is he who is vague is punished and he who is specific is rewarded. And so like the old days of just like, hey, I set up a search for you. Did you see anything you like? That's doesn't work because buyers, like, they need to be guided a little more than that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost like you have to identify, like, get a really clear understanding of what they're after and then identify that property and send it to them with a whole lot of excitement and say like, hey, I think I just found it. Like, this is awesome. What do you guys think about this place? Can you see it tomorrow? And that approach is so much better, I feel like, because it's specific and it's really targeted to what they want. And if we're good listeners and we can deliver on that, it's going to be so much better than just being vague and saying, hey, here's 59 properties on the MLS. Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had a lot more success with that, especially with the people that are just on the fence to the point where they're getting splinters.
Yeah.
And they have needs. Their family's growing, or they don't like the location and they don't like their house. Like 82% of people that bought their house during the pandemic don't like their house.
Right.
Is that right?
So, yeah.
Because there wasn't much to pick from. Yeah.
We had
Wow, but
800 homes in the entire market in February of 2020.
But weren't
21,
sale? Wasn't that the
sorry.
same period too, where when people were paying $50,000 over asking price, and there were no inspections, and it was just sales like crazy?
Brutal experience.
It was a nightmare, literally. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a great time for your.
It was awesome. Hold on.
Yeah.
The volume
Yeah.
and the numbers at the end of the year were awesome.
Yes.
The experience for us and for buyers was chaotic. Pull your hair out.
Buyers were
It's crazy.
literally getting drugged behind the truck.
Okay, I have a happy
Because
question.
sellers were so much in charge because there was so little inventory on the market. And I hated showing someone a $600,000 or $700,000 house, and they have to, in order to be competitive, because there's going to be 19 offers on it, they got to bid that thing up to 75 to 100 to 100 and a quarter over. And to Landon's point, now they're sitting back, and I tell people that have been in that situation, they're kind of beating themselves up. And I say, guys, don't beat yourself up. You needed to move at that time, and that's what the market was. We're still in an appreciating market, not 15, 17, 18% like we were, but we're still in an appreciating market. To Landon's point, we still have a little less than half the amount of inventory that we should have for a metro the size of the 6-7 county Denver metro area. And when we're talking about getting buyers on the same page, I play a little game with the husband and the wife, okay? And I'll sit them down at opposite sides of the table, and and this is normally a huge eye-opener for them. I draw a line down the middle of the paper, and I say, on the left side, Mrs., write down everything that are absolute must-haves for you. And on the right side, put the things that you could care less about. And Mr., you do the same thing. And to find out how much they are not on the same page when we show them each other's. Are you kidding me? A 3-car garage is that important to you? I couldn't live without it. She could care less about the garage. She's all about other parts of the house. It's a real eye-opener in helping get them on the same page so that now they're sensitive to each other's needs. And so when they find the right one, they're going to be on the same page. And I tell people, and I always get a really strange look from them. I said, I've been doing this over 30 years. I've never sold anything in my life. And they look at me like this, what? Kind of quizzical look. And I go, you watch it the way it's going to happen. When we walk into the right house, you're going to know it. I'm going to be watching you. I can see it in your body language. I can see it in the looks that you give each other. I said, you're going to find the right house. My job is to listen to what you are telling me and to help you find the right house in the search. You're going to tell me when you found the right one. And they go, oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
When you were saying that things have gotten hard and you can't send somebody a bunch of listings, set up an automatic search, it's basically the lower value activity or the lower skill activity is no longer valuable. And people are forced to do things that are more skilled, more valuable, more high touch, more focused, right? All that stuff. When things turn, or when people, whatever, in the future, is there a benefit to people having been forced to become, doesn't everybody just get better? I'll leave it at that. Doesn't every real estate person get better?
100%. Yeah, I think we're getting polished. Yeah, whether it's the market we went through in 2020 and 21, or whether it's this market that we're in right now.
Yeah.
I think you go through a polishing phase, and the ones that really continue to work on themselves are going to make a fortune once things turn or get a little more balanced or the market shifts. I mean, that's just the way it goes, and you'll be able to serve more people and be more effective. Yeah, that's no question. So it's good to keep that mindset. I don't think we think about that enough, but I think it's
well, and both Landon and I have been in the business long enough that we've been through a few of the wars. The agents that are out there that came in around the time in the 2020, 21, 22, they were kind of almost given things, and in many cases they didn't learn the business. And these days, especially, we'll address an elephant in the room here with this commission lawsuit. Commissions have always been negotiable. Ironically, the only people that are making any money out of this are the ambulance chasing attorneys who, went after this thing. What it has put some focus on for us as agents is to really share with people the value of a buyer's agent and how to what do we do, why do we have value, and so we're the agents that have been in the business for a while, like us. We're polishing things up, and we're communicating that to people. And I think Landon will probably agree. Just about every listing appointment that we go on, one of the first questions the seller asks is, "So I guess I don't have to pay a buyer agent commission anymore?" And our response is, "Well, you never really did, but it'd be nice to get your house shown, probably."
Yeah.
And these are commission people. We pay our company; they don't pay us, and so we walk them through the whole process. And at the end of the day, almost all of them say, "Well, yeah, I guess it does make sense. I need to have my house shown. I'm on the market for a reason. I want to sell." Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, Len will probably agree. I think it's going to be very similar to business as usual.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's not going to be much of a change for people that have been doing it all along, correct?
Yeah, the way it currently stands, I agree with you, Jay. I think one of the things that I'm doing right now to try to polish, and get better is like look back on the last couple of years of transactions that we've done, that we've helped people with. And they did a survey recently that said that the number one thing that buyers appreciate from buyer agents is that we help them mitigate risk in a transaction.
You took the words out of my mouth.
And so it's like they don't want to screw things up, right? And so like that's the most important thing that we do, is help guide them in their process so that they don't make the big mistake, and they make the decisions going to amount to appreciation and great investment and good experience. And so what I've been doing is going back through my transactions from the last couple of years and thinking, okay, what did we do to mitigate risk in this one? How about this one? How about this one? And then creating storytelling opportunities, because I think that the best thing we can do right now is tell stories of real experiences that have happened that showcase our value, because it's one thing to tell you, yeah, I've got your back. I'll be there. I'll negotiate for you. I'll do that. But then when they hear a story of how it played out, it's like, that's so much more powerful, I think, and it's going to draw on their minds and their hearts more.
Well, and to that point about stories is how many transactions are exactly like each other? No two, right?
None.
Not a single transaction is ever the same between a buyer and seller.
Totally.
Exactly.
That's crazy. That's a crazy part of business, right? Like it's just never the same.
Yep.
I have 2 pieces of real estate. I have more confidence now that I should never do it without help.
Yeah. Well,
Even just now that I should never do it without help.
yeah. Well,
Even just inspection.
Yeah.
and our job as realtors, I mean, why do we even have realtors? Why can't the attorneys handle all this? They're certainly very capable. I think the main difference is, and I don't want to paint an untrue broad picture of attorneys, but by their training, in many cases, attorneys are in an adversarial relationship much of the time. Our job is exactly the opposite. Our job is to bring transactions together. And whether we're working with a buyer or whether we're working with a seller, and I know Landon agrees with me, we don't want anybody to walk away unhappy. But we are representing one of the two parties in almost all cases. And so we're going to look out for the party that we're representing. But at the end of the day, like I say, we want people to be happy and walk away and say, that was a really good experience.
Mm-hmm. I'm such a nerd. I'm sorry. I just have a question. On the risk side of the buy versus sell, they're both risky to buy poorly or sell poorly.
Sure.
Do people perceive more risk in the selling because it's their house or something? Or I should ask that as an open question instead of guessing.
Yeah.
Where's the risk, do you think, in people's mind?
I would
And
say
are
buy,
they-
don't you,
And are they right?
Landon?
I think so. Yeah, just because like on the listing side, I feel like they want negotiation and marketing. They want someone that's going to defend their equity, that they've hard-earned equity that they've had. And I think that you can make a ton of mistakes on the sell side too. So risk mitigation is definitely there too. But I feel like buyers, especially buyers coming in from out of town, from out of state, that don't know the market, you can make a whole lot of mistakes, right? On just anything, like not knowing our soils here in Denver.
North side
location.
driveway, right? We
That's
were just
good.
talking about
Yeah.
that. We
Yeah,
just
'cause I
talked.
was thinking about, I guess price is the mistake I was thinking of as the seller. But you're right. When I was buying here and I was from out of state, it's like,
Yep.
thanks, Justin. I trust you.
Yeah. If you're coming from California or Florida or Arizona and you rarely, if ever, have experienced snow, and then you buy a house that faces north, you're going to get a lot more snow and ice than if it faced south or east. And, but a lot of times people are more focused. I mean, that can be one of the minor downsides, but people are focused on finding the house that fits their family or their lifestyle, that sort of thing, the neighborhood that they're looking for. Maybe if they have kids, it's the schools that they're focused on, that sort of thing. So, it's interesting where people come from, and we spend a fair amount of time trying to help educate them as to our market. Yeah, if you're not from the Denver metro area, we have a little thing called bentonite. It's an expansive soil. And you can take a handful, it looks like regular dirt, but it's an expansive clay. And you can take a handful of that, the size of a baseball, and add water to it, and it will hydraulically swell in excess of the size of a softball. It will literally move a mountain. It'll darn sure move your foundation. So one of the things that we do when we're working with buyers is we walk them through the construction process and show them, here's the type of basement floor you have, and here's why this is important. And kind of we help them understand how their house was built and other things like sewer scopes. And
How about radon? Is that a big, that's a big thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe mold issues. Fortunately, we don't have the same type of mold issues in our dry climate that they do in Florida and Texas. Mm-hmm. Most of the mold that we come across is the same stuff that's on bread and cheese, but so it's most cases not toxic mold, but still there's mold around and people want it mitigated as well they should.
Yeah.
That was an awesome bentonite analogy. I'm going to use that. That's beautiful.
It's going to go like
I
this.
now understand it at a higher level. That was awesome.
Well, there is a road in the Denver area, in the southwest area, called Ken Carl. And that 25 years ago, that road literally was like a roller coaster. And they had to dig that road out about a mile, maybe a mile and a half of it. I remember looking down and seeing they dug that thing down like 40 or 50 feet, and they replaced all of that soil because it had tremendous expansive clay in there. And even today, it has a little bit of this going on, but nothing. I mean, you would have dropped the front end of your car at one time if you were going too fast. So
that's steep.
Yeah.
Not so friendly hills.
So bentonite is naturally occurring?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
And you can't mitigate it, right? It's in the ground. You can take it out.
You can mitigate it.
You can.
Dig a bigger hole and sift it out?
They take
excavate it. Yeah.
They rotomill it. So they
wow.
take it out with a big machine and they mix sand with it and they water it and let it expand and more sand and they mix it some more but bentonite runs in streaks. And what's interesting is you could have a 1,200 home subdivision and maybe only a couple dozen homes are affected and nobody else is.
Oh, it's like a vein, right?
It's
a vein. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are there ways to, so I totally agree that the risk and services, you need a professional to help you with real estate still. Like the robots the AIs are not going to come and destroy because it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Right, you still need agents.
I saw some when I was doing videos of Remax like a few years ago, and I was talking all about the millennials were becoming more likely to use realtors than the people who were a little older than them or something. And it was like this. It was very interesting to me because it was like, well, you would think it would go maybe the other way if there was some good reason for it. But I have a question, which is like, are there places that you think the complexity of the transaction can fundamentally change? Technology, the business and how it works, I don't know. Is there any way that you see, crystal ball style, 50 years from now, real estate being not as complex a transaction? How about How about that?
Yeah, I've never even really thought about that.
That seems to me the only way to sort of like be like, well,
Yeah,
it's simple now.
right.
What
So
the
let's
what the computer can't do, what AI can't do.
like how about this iBuyer thing where people were just like, sort of creating marketplace dynamics that were a little wobbly, right? That didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That seems like something that you could do with a bunch of money or some computers. Whatever.
Yeah, didn't work out so well. Yeah, and you're dealing with people's emotions and their personalities. That's something that AI can't do.
Yeah, I remember Landon telling me that buyers, and you can agree with this, buyers buy on emotion, right? They walk in that door, it's like immediate. You agree with that? Buyers buy an emotion?
I tell buyers and sellers, particularly sellers, logic and reason in residential real estate takes a serious backseat to perception and emotion. That's why, as an example, carpet allowances don't work. Now, Jay, I know that the carpet is shot, but we don't want to pick the wrong color. We'll just give them a carpet allowance. Now, see, that's logical and it's reasonable. The only problem is it doesn't work, right?
Because people can't see it.
What you see in residential real estate, what you see is what you get. There is about this much of the population that can see beyond all of that.
Like 1 in 20? How often do you see a visionary
Oh,
real
yeah.
estate transaction?
What would you
person?
say, Landon? 1 in 30? 1 in 25? I mean,
Extremely rare.
I got to tell you this. So, I've been a camera guy for 40 years. I cannot have vision at all. I can't take, a swatch of, color paint, and put it on the wall and envision what that's going to look like or what the floor is going to look like. I got to think it's almost impossible for someone to have vision.
Totally. Yeah.
and frankly, women are usually better at it than men, but even then.
Even then, it's tough.
Really depends on the personality types, because we study personality types all the time, and the more like linear logical types, they tend to be less emotional and more all about the numbers and that sort of a thing. And their focus is more on numbers than it is about like the vision of it and what it looks like at the time. So you have those that are not the most popular of breeds, right? Like that are walking around looking at houses and picking apart the payments and the numbers and that sort of thing. But then most people are on that emotional side. And Jay mentioned a really good thing, carpet allowances. It's just like, I mean, you could switch your carpet out with brand new carpet, spend, $7,000 and make 20 doing 3 times
So
what
the
you spent.
ROI is definitely there.
Huge ROI
Yeah,
on
yeah,
carpet.
yeah.
It's such an emotional thing, right? Because it smells like new, looks like new, and everything. And then on the opposite side, you're not paying someone $7,000 worth of carpet allowance, right? So that's a $27,000 swing.
Yeah.
And like you made 20 and you didn't pay 7, right?
Yeah.
So like literally the worst move in history.
Well, you did pay
is
7
carpet
because you had to
allowance.
get the carpet fixed.
Okay, all right. So 20. Yeah, let's net it to 20. Good call. Way to catch me. I get carried away sometimes.
No, that's okay.
But still, I'd rather make $20,000 on that move because it's just.
I was thinking about the other cost, which is the pain in the butt of having to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe people like that. That sounds like that would be too far away for most people.
Most people overplay that. They think that it's going to be worse than it is, and most carpet guys will move furniture for you. They'll.
Yeah.
You move the small stuff, they'll move the big stuff, and it's a one-day thing.
They charge a little more, but it's definitely worth it. And the other thing we hear all the time too. Well, Jay, we don't want to pick a wrong color. And the response to that is, then don't pick a wrong color. Pick a neutral color.
Yeah, neutral.
Pick the one that 90% of people like. And go with that. Yeah.
They refer to it as Realtor beige.
But Jay, they're just gonna switch it out. Someone could just switch it out after closing, right?
And let them do it because it's going to show 100 times better to 95% of the population.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's appealing to the masses. It's like a retail store. When you walk in the mall, everything's folded perfectly.
Yep.
It looks great. It's decluttered. Looks great. And there's like smell coming in when you walk in. There's music. It's just like that ambiance makes you purchase. It makes you buy.
Yeah.
It's the same thing we do with homes. We get it set up just like that.
That's the other analogy that I use too, and this really brings it home to people. I will tell them, guys, staging is really pretty expensive, but every builder does it on their spec homes, and they do it for a reason. And people don't even think of this. All the stuff in this house that you're looking at, that you're oohing and ahhing over, it's all going to be gone. But walking in and getting that warm, fuzzy feeling, that's the name of the game. If they walk through the front door, and I tell sellers this all the time, if they walk through the front door and they kind of go, there's probably nothing we're going to do to turn that around. We're looking for the ones that walk through the front door and go, now our job, your job and mine, is to warm them up and keep that warm, fuzzy feeling going as they go through the house. That's why it's critically important that it shows like a show home as best it can without breaking the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Body language you were talking about, right?
Yeah,
Look at each other. This magic moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. You can see the lights go on, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I had Landon over to my house because down the road we're going to sell it, maybe 5 or 7 years. And the one thing he kept telling me is light and bright.
Yeah,
light and bright.
Light and bright. Yep.
You agree?
That your house is?
No, that's what you want your house to look like.
Yes.
Light and bright. And does that make sense? Absolutely, right?
In 2024 it does.
Yeah.
Maybe in 2026 it won't. Who knows?
I'll get rid of my very dark wood and Antigua blues, like dungeon style.
If you were going to sell this house, they would tell you to.
I'll fix it.
In 20 and 21 and 22, it didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
Right? But now, and pretty much for the real estate market in general, it has always made a huge difference. Yeah, I tell people, open the drapes, open the blinds.
And you do the candle thing and some of the, the fragrance things in the homes when you guys are selling.
Lightly.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit.
Like, the best is baked breads and cookies, like
Yeah.
homemade goods.
I've
is
heard
the
this.
best. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
like real cookies?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you make them.
Best smell you could ever have in your house. But if not, we go with like a vanilla, like just really light scent, nothing
Yeah.
too like spicy.
Okay, so if you're having an open house and you actually bake cookies,
Huh?
Yeah.
do you present the cookies or do you hide the cookies?
No, we give the cookies out.
Yeah.
Open house.
You give the cookies out.
Yeah,
Sure.
with
I
little
thought-
bottles of water.
So it's okay if you get caught.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was just wondering if it would be more advantageous to
We're not trying to be
cook
sneaky
the
about
cookies
this.
No.
and then eat them yourself or whatever, and then just have this house just smells like cookies.
Yeah.
You just become more likable that way.
That's right. Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah. No, I've heard that, and I'm sure it worked well.
Yeah.
I have a question. When you get like a nerd who looks like they think they're deciding based on the dollars or whatever, do they tend to still buy on emotion?
Sometimes not. Honestly, there is that type that's just very linear logical.
Yeah.
And when those types, I love those types because I'm a numbers guy. Like I'll go, if I know that that's the type that I'm working with, I'll go to a listing appointment with my whole market analysis and everything is all chalked up with writing. And I'll be writing numbers here, talk about, minus 15,000 for this, all the adjustments, show them all the adjustments. So it looks like a mathematical equation, right? Because that's what they want. They want someone that has done all the homework and the math for them. It's all numbers based. It's a science. And so it is scientific when you're working with those people.
When you're talking about like psychographic sort of segmentation, is it more complex than sort of like the linear analytical versus the conceptual emotional? Is it more complex than that? And if it isn't, when you have an appointment coming up and you just look at someone's photo, do you try to pretend? Do you try to figure out which one, or do you very quickly say, I can go either way, and like in the first 10 minutes, you're like, or 3 minutes, whatever.
Just by looking at them?
Well, that's
I'm
what
not
I'm
that
wondering.
good.
No.
I'm
not that good either.
I look like Mr. Magoo. Like I look like the Rio guy. Like my hair flowing on my. I mean,
If they look like Doc Brown from Back to the Future, like 1.21 gigawatts.
If they have
That's not a growth.
if they have the pen protector type of thing,
Yeah.
with 3 different pens,
Yeah.
then you know.
Okay, this
There
is
might
starting-
be some.
This is starting
yeah.
to turn into like
Dead giveaway.
inappropriate, like what do you call like that? But
Profiling. Yeah.
Exactly. But it sounds like in order to help somebody, you need to know how they want to be communicated to.
Yeah. And it's all through how they answer questions. And
So you try to assess that right away.
Yeah. So like, there's a lot of tricks to that. Like, hey, who's gonna walk me through the house? See who steps up. If the husband steps up, or wife, or somebody else, then that person is probably the alpha in this relationship in a way.
Or in charge of the
And
transaction.
They might be in charge and the decision maker, and so there's definitely some skill to that. Rich's house was definitely his wife.
100%. I bet you 90% of the houses it's the woman, huh? Or
A
no?
lot of times it is.
Yeah.
First time I
Yeah.
went to Rich's house, I got like the stamp of approval from Maria, and he said that was important.
Yeah.
It is, but yeah.
Yeah, it's in residential real estate. Probably the vast majority of the time, it's the woman driving the train. The guy gets to come along so he can see what he's about to help purchase, and and with the women, they're thinking about all the things that are important if it's a married couple, and they're going to rear a family there. They're thinking about that kind of thing. The guys are thinking about how big is the garage.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a nest. It's a nesting thing.
Yeah.
Women are creating their nest. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just their DNA, and a guy's DNA is how many cars can get in the garage.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not always the case, but I agree. I think it's the
Yeah.
majority.
Majority of the time.
And I think like the other questions that we like to ask is like, hey, what are you most excited about this move? About getting into a house. And if they answer and say, oh, I just can't wait to like have a place where we get to know the neighbors, and it's like the schools and our kids and creating memories, like that it's more of an emotional thing for them, right? If it's like, yeah, no, I just want to get into an investment where I can make some money year over year, and I can see my house appreciate in value and that sort of thing. It's a dead giveaway, and some people that is what they are most excited about is the investment side of it, and so they're very not money driven, but like numbers driven as far as that goes, and that supersedes the emotional aspect of it. So it's just depending on how they answer that and a couple other questions we ask.
So there's a lot of detective work that goes into actually buying.
There is. You'll have some people that say, hey, I'm looking for a fixer upper that I can put some blood, sweat, and tears in and create some equity. And then you got the exact opposite where we want a place that's turnkey. I've been there, done that with the fix-up stuff. I'm tired of that. We want to move in ready.
Yeah.
And
main floor master, right? There's some specifics out there. For sure.
Good point. And the demographics. How old is the buyer? The older they are, the less they're going to be pumped up about stairs. So that's really what the buyer interview is all about, to try and figure out what's important to you guys. And then our job is to go find it.
Yeah.
And
do you also do that same split screen thing with the male and the female for the buyer side as well? Okay, I want this and I want this.
That is the buyer side.
Oh, that is that side.
Yeah, that is the buyer side. Yeah. The seller side is coaching them on how to have your house put its best foot forward. Some people are saying, I want minimal cost and maximum return. Others will say to us, what do you think? We're thinking about replacing the kitchen. Do we really need to do that? Should we paint the cabinets? That sort of thing. And we'll walk them through it. We can connect you with the right people to put in a very nice kitchen without breaking the bank, where you'll double your return on that, sometimes more, and bathrooms as well. And going back for a second to, like, if the woman is driving the train, we really focus on what's important to the woman, and family areas, like, if they have young kids, can they see the family room from the kitchen? Can they keep an eye on the little ones? If whoever's making dinner, can they keep an eye on them? And that sort of thing, so.
And both you guys have a list then of contractors, someone who's going to take care of painting and someone who's going to be a carpet guy, and you've got someone who could do the roof. You guys have a list of that?
No question.
Long list.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's so important. And going back to your question, TJ, because I think it was a good one as far as like how could technology like change the industry going forward. I was thinking like you're right about millennials. Like they are actually more apt to refer an agent or like go by a referral than the like baby boomers and Gen Zs were. And so they're all about the referral process. I think the Gen Zs are a different animal than the millennials, though. I think these are the kids that grew up like on screens, that are Snapchatting constantly, that are on, all these different apps and stuff, and their relationship is with their phone, like more so than, and in some cases, forgive me, but a little socially inept, right? In a lot of cases, right?
And they just,
I think any parent can say that in some cases. It's just like they're a different breed, and some of them are not. Some of them you got uber achievers in that group too, but you got a lot of kids that don't have a ton of social interaction, and they have a lot of interaction with their phone, and their phone is like their life more so than other generations, because that's how they grew up. Those are the habits that they developed as a toddler, and so because of that, I do think that the relationship that we are creating with the public through video online is going to draw more people in like the sales industry than ever before. And I think that there will be a lot of those that are still going to go get a referral from a trusted family member, but also if they have a relationship with someone that they get to know online, that's sending videos and they're searching and they're finding things on videos that's educating them and stuff. I feel like they call that person, it's almost like a local celebrity type thing, where they're like, are you taking on clients? Like, can you work
There's
with
a
me
level
too?
of trust that gets built up
Yeah.
when they're looking at all of that different
And they already
media.
know you. They already know who you are because they've heard so much content, like the hours of content that they've watched, rather than just someone that they could find out from a friend, and I think they have some pride in like finding and discovering things on their own too, because they think that's how I find things is online. It's how I've done it my whole life.
Yeah, and to Landon's point, you can go to a local fast food restaurant or something when school they break for lunch, and you can see 4 kids sitting at a table just like we are, and they're communicating by texting back and forth with one another rather than talking. It's to Landon's point, they grew up with it.
It is kind of funny, but like if video is still the way to meet it's like it's human. They still want human, but they are getting there via inhuman.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and they still want human because of the same thing everybody's saying right now is the risk mitigation. It's like they want a human to help because they don't trust a robot to help them through a real estate transaction. It's that complicated. It's just too complex. And you said like, what could there be done to uncomplicate things? I don't know. I really don't know. Like maybe appraisals go away. That could happen. I could see that. Couldn't you? Like in the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
But I don't know that the process gets any less complicated as far as the contracts go. The contract gets bigger every year.
Yeah.
There's like 4 more pages every year in the contract because of all the attorney language that has to go into it and stuff. So that's not getting any easier. The opportunity to really screw something up is getting bigger and bigger. Especially if agency is getting threatened, then that's you don't have a buyer agent on your side, then there's going to be a lot of pitfalls with young buyers and any buyer who's buying a house without an agent if agency goes out the window. So I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think that that's a big threat to a lot of consumers is what's going on with the NAR settlement.
To that point, how important is then continuing education for you guys, since it sounds like things change all the time? How do you both like stay ahead of this stuff?
Yeah, well, we're required to take 24 hours of education every licensing period. The two of us probably have last year I had all of that in 1 year. So we're probably doubling and tripling up just because the industry is changing so fast, and we're in this suit happy environment that we live in, and something that Landon said made me think. The contracts are getting longer, but almost every paragraph in a buyer's contract or in the buy and sell agreement is a result of a lawsuit. That paragraph is in there for a reason. They're just not pulling stuff out of the air to put it in there. You would agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So lots of ways that our job mainly is to keep the train from jumping the track, anticipating issues before they become problems, heading things off and addressing them up front so it doesn't become a problem.
Okay. Hey, I know we only have a couple more minutes, and I'd just like to ask, because you guys, both had different styles of business. You're an independent single agent, and you've got a team.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about benefits of having a team. I'm just kind of curious, like why you like that.
Yeah, so I was a single agent for a long time, and I was actually part of my dad's team at first, and then I started what I thought was going to be my team and failed at it miserably, and stayed as a solo agent for a while because I just didn't have the leadership capabilities at that point. And then I got a great coaching system, workman success systems that helped me get there, as a leader and help me establish those traits that I needed to be a good team leader. And the reason why I did it is because I wanted to really serve people at a high level, and I didn't want that to change. I wanted to build a team around me that could continue to do that and amplify it and make it even a better customer experience, with two of us involved on each transaction, plus help in the office, that sort of thing, but also be able to be there for my family, be there for my kids. Like that was my big why, and train them in basketball, things that they love doing, be there, not just to like go to their games, but like help them get good at what they want to get good at. And so that was my big why that was driving me to form a team. And I also wanted to impact like other agents and help them out that were seeking like some help and guidance from a team leader, and, help them go from making $20,000 a year to making $150,000 a year, and that's a life changer for some of these agents that have grown. And so I think for me, that makes me happy. It's brought me a ton of happiness, and it didn't come without a price. Like I really had to learn how to be way less selfish and learn how to truly care about like my teammates around me and be better to work with.
You still have a coach now?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think that was what I was going to say as far as the education goes is the continuing education has done very little for me. It's been my coach and the coaching systems that's really helped me grow, and now I'm with Tom Ferry, and his stuff is just awesome. There's so many resources. If I want to learn about anything, right now I'm rebrushing up on short sales because I have a short sale that I have to do. Haven't done one since 2011.
Yeah.
So it's like, going back through that avenue, and I got Remax University. I got Tom Ferry's like Illume platform that I can just go into and watch videos or webinars and read articles and know exactly what I need to do, and so I love that. But it's not just that. It's like how to grow your team, how to time manage better, how to be a better leader, like all kinds of stuff.
It sounds like you get stimulated by that.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, learning is powerful, right?
Yeah, yeah. Remember Jay telling me he's been in the business for 30 years, and we talked about this right before you showed up. Mm-hmm. But he got all excited about a new what was the program you got?
Well, there's a great system out there that Lan and I have both belonged to. Brian Buffini, he's a icon in the industry. I still belong to Buffini, but I've transitioned into ninja selling.
That's right.
With Larry Kendall. And it is very much like what Lan is doing with Tom Ferry. Both of us have built our business based on referrals. And there's only one way that you get a referral from someone is if you did a really good job for them. And they trust that if they pass your name on, you're going to do a great job for the people they're referring you to. And so they're very similar systems with a little different twist.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I think it's good to jump around a little bit with coaches too. Like I get stale on coaching calls after like 3 or 4 years, I've learned. And it's like, okay, I need a fresh voice. I need someone that's going to direct me in a little different way, or else I get a little bit stagnant or bored. And so for me, that's been the case. It may not be for, I know others that have been with the same coach for 20, 30 years, but I love Brian. I mean, Buffini's just been awesome for me. That was the first 7 years in my business. I was just all in with that. And then I did Workman, and then I've done Tom Ferry now. And I learned so much from each one of them that's helped me in different ways. And kind of, I feel like it just balances you out if you have different perspectives. And those are some of the big ones, but there's a lot of other ones too that are really good, powerful coaches out there. So
that keeps your business fresh. It sounds like just trying new things,
Totally.
new systems.
I have a coach. It's good.
Well, the value of a coach for us is that they're coaching other good agents as well, and so they're able to bring in, Landon said the magic word, perspective. Jay, I'm coaching a guy in San Diego, and your situation sounds a lot like his, and here's what he did. Here's how he handled that, and then he'll take comments that he and I've made together, and he'll take it back to the guy in San Diego or the guy in Tallahassee, that sort of thing. And it is really, really helpful because there is a ton of collaboration in our business. You were asking about our list of referrals of contractors and that sort of thing. Very common for me to call Landin and say, my roofer just retired or my concrete guy just retired. Who have you got? And realtors are very forthcoming in sharing that information. And I tell my clients that, listen, the people that I refer you to are road tested. I didn't pull them off the internet. And either I've used them personally or one of my colleagues has used them, or when I'm going to depend on you to call me up 6 months down the road and say, hey, Jay, my neighbor used a great painter and I tried him out. This guy is phenomenal. I want that information from you. That's where this referral list comes from. So they're all road tested. And then, of course, guys are getting in the business and out of the business all the time, so we're constantly refreshing that referral list. But I've got people that wouldn't think of having anything done without calling me. Then I'll tell them, you don't have to use the people that I'm referring you to. If there's somebody your neighbor used, great. Talk to both of them. See which one that is a better fit for you. And that the referral list that we use is frankly a great source of business because people trust that we're going to pass on a qualified contractor or a qualified source as to where to buy something, that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think I've seen like on a team as a team leader, like one thing that agents really want and value is just accountability, like that someone that can check in with them. And we have like 3 huddles, during the week, and then we have a team meeting once a week. So I'm very involved with all of those. And, on those huddles, we're, providing a little bit of motivation, but most of the time it's just, okay, what'd you do yesterday? What was impactful from what you did yesterday? Let's run down the list here. And then what are you going to do today? And the next day we're following up on, all right, what'd you do yesterday? What are you going to do today? And that alone increases production a ton.
Sure.
And I'm not as focused on the transactional stuff because I teach them as we go on that stuff, but I'm focused on what did you do to grow your business? Like how many people did you call? How many conversations did you have to get to know people, to deepen relationships, to move the needle as far as that goes? Because I don't want to just send them leads and have them work the leads. Like I want to teach them how to do this business, teach them how to fish and be a business owner. And I think that's how I think of things, is more of, instead of just a realtor, like I'm running a business here, a business owner. And that's why I need a business coach to help me coach through this and, be efficient as a business owner.
Yeah. And I've had team members in the past as well. And I have a great assistant right now that is very much more adept at doing things as far as editing videos and that sort of thing. It's a young lady and she's phenomenal. And those are things that I need to focus on selling real estate. She can do that far better than I probably ever would. And so it gives me more time to focus on my client base and what have you. And Landon just said the magic word. I think one of the reasons that things are working so well for him is all these meetings that he has, because people know they're going to be held accountable for what they're doing. You just don't throw them out there and see if they sink or swim. Yeah. It's bringing them along and teaching them the business, and then continue to coach them while we're getting coached. Mm-hmm. It's a never-ending thing, and it's with no 2 real estate transactions being the same. It's really important to stay on top of the game, because the game is changing constantly, every minute, every day.
Yeah, and we do a lot of dialogue practice too. Nobody likes role play until they see the results of it
Until they
like,
warm up to
wow,
it. Yeah.
yeah, this actually helps.
Yeah.
And so we do a lot of that on the second half of our half-hour huddle is all just practice. Like
Especially
dialogue
overcoming objections. That's a big one, right?
big time. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
no
just like
question.
people being so many agents. In fact, the lion's share of agents out there, they're totally afraid of video. I don't look good, or my hair's not right, or whatever it is. And then once you start doing it, just like role playing, pretty soon it's like water off a duck's back. It's just part of they're not nervous anymore, And I tell new agents all the time, just jump into video, and before long, you will you'll think of it as just part of your everyday business. I have a camera right on the top of my screen, and the moment that I hang up talking with someone, say they were a referral or somebody that I have not met yet, they might call on a sign call or something. The second I hang up that phone, I hit the record button. I look into that camera. Hey, Brian, it was great talking to you a few minutes ago. I just wanted to give you a quick shout out, put a face with the name, and I look forward to setting that search up for you and connecting you with a good lender, and we'll get after it and we'll find you a great home. All for now. Look forward to seeing you face to face. Make it a great day. Bye.
Wow, so you do a video email or video text right after you have a call?
Either a video email or a video text. If
Wow.
I'm in my office, I'll do a video email. If I'm not in front of a camera, I'll just do it on my phone.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
You do that too?
Yeah, we do.
That's huge.
We try to use BombBomb, the software that we use quite a bit for video email marketing, and just do like one-to-one emails too with just a quick video, 20 seconds. Yeah, so nice to see you yesterday. Your house is beautiful. Like, absolutely loved walking through there. Appreciate you guys taking the time, and look forward to, continue to build this relationship with you guys. So I think that's big, just good touches. And our company's come up with a way to have like evergreen videos at each step of the transaction too. So like there's something say, hey, congrats on being under contract on your home. We're so excited for you. We'll be here every step of the way until you get to the closing table. And then, whoa, congrats on closing, you guys. You now have gotten your home sold, and now you're moving on to this or whatever. But there's a video for each step that goes out automatically without us touching a button.
That's
So nice.
Yeah.
So makes it much more relational when you can see a face, and and I think that's the big thing right now. Another challenge in today's world is like being more and more creative on getting face to face with people, because the more face to face you are with people, the more transactions you will do. And
is that like in terms of receptions and parties, gatherings, those kind of one-on-ones?
could be, yeah. I mean, I think being in those circles that you want to be in with the people that are influential connectors, those are the places where you're going to find some amazing support for your business. And so just attending things like that, but also like putting on events, or
appreciation events kind of things.
Yep. Coming up with great ways to get together just one-to-one with your clients and do, coffee meetings or lunch meetings, and, chat over like, hey, do a home equity review, and that's what I do a lot, is just like, hey, I owe you an equity review. We haven't done that for a year. I want to let you know what your value is doing this year. So let's sit down and talk through it, and they say, Larry Kendall from Ninja says that it's like 27% greater chance of you getting a referral if you're face-to-face when you show someone the value of their home. And so if you get face-to-face with them and have the dialogue to do that and the confidence to do that, and you take the time, then your results are just going to go way up.
It's a little bit old school, right?
They call them real estate reviews. And what Larry Kendall refers to is that, hey, you meet annually with your doctor, with your accountant, with your attorney. Why not your real estate broker? You sold them this house, help them understand, here's what you bought for, here's what it's worth now, look at the equity you built over this period of time. This is a pretty good investment. And it's all about connecting with people, because one of the mistakes that new agents make, and some very seasoned agents, well, I sold John and Mary a house 12 years ago, and I did a great job. We had a great relationship, so automatically they're going to call me. Automatically they don't. If you haven't maintained a relationship with them, probably the realtor's name that they heard the most recent is that guy or gal's going to get a call. Hey, I need to sell my house. Not good old Landon or good old Jay that sold him the house 12 years ago and did a great job. So it's all about staying without being annoying. And Tom Ferry says this, as does Larry Kendall. Don't ever pick up the phone and call just to be calling. Make sure it is something of value to them. And if you don't have value, a reason to call them, then don't. You're better off not, because the next time you call when you just wasted their time, they're not going to pick up the phone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think Buffini is like he always talks about those pop buys or drop buys, and he's like you don't even have to have a reason, just show up. But,
yeah, and
the gift is your reason.
Yeah,
that's kind of the main emphasis there. I think you can get creative with what your reason is.
Yeah,
but have a reason.
Yeah,
a reason.
There's a lot of things that provide value, right? Yeah. Like calling someone to congratulate them on their kid graduating from high school. That's a reason that provides value. It brings a smile to their face, makes them feel loved, appreciated, like they got heard from their Facebook post. That's one of my favorite things to do, is go from social to real. And I'm reading through Facebook, looking at feeds, and I notice something about a client, and then I call them, or I write them a note, or I'd stop by and give them a gift because of this thing that happened to them in their life, And so I think that's one of the most powerful things you can do, because everyone's putting their stuff out there. They want to be heard, they want to be seen, they want to be noticed, and we all think we're the most important person in the whole world, So I think when we pay attention to those things and we deliver on it, that's what kind of the Zappos philosophy of delivering happiness, that's what people really want. That's what cultivates relationships, makes you more likable, they trust you more, they want to work with you.
So, yeah, and Landon just said something really important. I have become very disciplined through Ninja, and this is a Buffini concept as well, but the light really went on when I joined the Ninja group. Personal notes to your client base, quarterly, every 4 or 5 months, just touching bases with them. Hey, John and Mary, I was thinking of you the other day. I was driving a couple of blocks from your house, and I know that your son Stanley just graduated from high school. Hope he's doing well. It's just a short note. It's a personal touch, and personal notes are really, really important. People will always open those, and they appreciate hearing from you, again, having a reason to have sent that note.
So that's a note in the mail, right? You're talking about?
Yep. Snail Mail. Snail Mail is coming back, where it was so out of touch for so long. It's back. And the thing that's out a lot of times now are emails. Everybody gets a ton of emails, so that's why video is becoming important. Video text is important. Personal notes are important, that sort of thing. Yeah, the monthly market update with video.
My wife is very strict on thank you notes still. She just, matter of fact, I was on a plane. I had a surprise birthday party, 30 of my really close friends. And she said, you have to write, thank you notes. So I was on a 3-hour plane ride, and I was writing out the thank you notes. And I cannot tell you how many older people leaned over and go, that is so cool that you're writing a thank you note.
Yeah.
Like you never see that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Any closing thoughts? Anybody want to share anything?
No, I think we've covered some good stuff. It's been an honor to be here with you, Jay. He's a veteran that's just been doing this for years and has a ton of knowledge and experience. So I love being at RE/MAX Pros with guys like you.
I'll tell you, Landon jumped into the business, and he's been hitting it out of the park for a long, long time now. And, a lot of credit to his dad, because he saw how it works. But he's jumped into it, and he's making it work and being very disciplined and continuing to study and learn the business, because like I say, business is changing so fast. Staying on top of it. That's why we spend all the time with the continuing education that we do, because it's changing so fast. But Landon has done a phenomenal job. He's one of the top agents in a 550 agent company now, thereabouts.
Well, thank you, Jay. I feel like I strike out a lot too.
Yeah.
Do some bunt singles every now and then.
Yeah. Well, Babe Ruth struck out a lot too, but
Yeah.
you know what his batting average was. So, yeah, Landon's done a great job.
Good mentors and good surroundings. We're lucky. We're good that we're at. So
Yeah.
Well, TJ and I really thank you guys for taking the time to do this little thing with us. Was this fun for you?
yeah,
It was fun.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we wonder if other agents would like to do it, and we think it's a good idea. We'll see what happens, huh, T?
We'll send the footage to someone. We'll turn it into something, which will create some kind of value, and then you and I can go start working at King Supers.
That's where it
There we
starts.
go.
That's where it starts. Bag those groceries, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Without bags.
I love hearing from experts, like really about anything, but I learned a lot today.
Yeah.
And I
good stuff.
appreciate you taking the time, and we'll send these assets to whoever, and
Cool.
hopefully,
Yeah.
you can.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate this opportunity.
It was great.
Great studio.
Nice job.
Yeah. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.